SIL is bitter. Her ex proposed to me, and this got her banned from our family. AITAH for this? My brother's wife used to be my BF's ex. She spread lies about him and accused him of grooming and abusing me, but none of it was true. Last week, I announced our engagement. While my parents were happy, Ella made a nasty comment. It must be nice to get the ring after someone else fixed him. I snapped at her, and my parents kicked them out. This may be a little confusing, but I will try to make it as clear as possible. My 27F fiance's ex is now my older brother's wife, so my SIL. To make it less confusing, my fiance is George, my brother is David, and my SIL is Ella. George, 38M, briefly dated Ella, 34F, 4 years ago. Ella wanted to get married and have kids, but George did not want this with her. He was also having a lot of issues back then, partying, doing drugs, and not being the most reliable person. They dated for 6 months. And everything ended in drama because Ella was not able to make George want to settle with her. Soon after their breakup, she met my brother and they got married 7 months after. So yeah, they moved really fast, and basically Ella dated her ex, broke up with him, met my brother, and got married to him, everything in only 1 year and a couple of months. I met George 2 years ago, and at that time Ella was already married to my bro. Back then, I had no idea that George was Ella's ex. When George started to feel attracted to me, he changed completely. He quit drinking and doing drugs. He has been sober ever since. Started going to therapy and overall became a new person. He did this because he wanted to change, and I have been with him during his entire healing journey. I am very proud of him, and we have a healthy and amazing relationship. Even if Ella was already married to my brother, she was furious when she found out I was dating George and that he was serious with me. She was so cruel and said a lot of nasty lies. She used to tell everyone that George was grooming me. I was 25 when we became a thing, and he was 36. This is not grooming FFS. She lied that George was abusing me, trying to get me to become an addict like him and many other things. This ruined my relationship with my brother because he never did anything to make her stop. George and I announced our engagement to my family last week during my dad's birthday. My parents were happy for us, but Ella said, "It must be nice to be the one to get the ring after someone else struggled to fix him." Again, no reaction from my brother as usual. My parents told her to stop, but I just snapped and told her something along the lines, "He fixed himself, UPOS. And yes, it is nice to know I will be married to the man I love more than anything and who loves me the same. But how is it for you knowing that no one else except my idiot brother ever wanted to marry you? Does it feel nice?" My parents kicked them out after this. They told her that everybody had enough of her BS. She is insane, because although being married, she is still bitter over the fact that her ex did not want her. She is officially banned from every family event, and my brother is now blaming me. So, AITAH in this situation? I don't think I am, honestly, but I want to also hear some unbiased perspective. Relevant comments. Commenter, NTA. But has anybody ever suggested to your brother that he get therapy? His wife has spent the past 2 years telling everyone within range that she is extremely bitter about the fact that her ex is happily in a relationship with not her. How is this not tearing him up? Commenter, honestly, what the hell with your bother? Sounds like Ella just wanted to get married for the sake of being married, not because she was in love with David. Your parents make the right call banning her, but be cautious and hire security for the wedding day. She may try to pull some shenanigans and cause drama. By the way, at 25, plus grooming is non-existent. You are a grown-ass woman by then, so she is ignorant on top of all. Commenter, oof, that's a tough situation. Honestly, I get why you snapped. Sounds like Ella has been throwing shade and stirring up drama for way too long. It's hard to stay cool when someone's constantly attacking your relationship, especially when your fiance has worked so hard to turn his life around. But family stuff is tricky, and banning someone always makes things even messier. Maybe your bro feels caught in the middle, but Ella should have chilled with those comments a long time ago. You gotta stand up for yourself, but I hope y'all find a way to smooth things over eventually. Story 2. AITAH for being upset that my dad's wife keeps insisting my future kids are her grandkids. My 24F mom died 2 days before my 17th birthday. She was diagnosed with cancer less than 6 months before, and the years we were expecting her to have were cut to months. I am the oldest of 4. My youngest brother had just turned 4 when my mom died, so he sadly does not remember her much. After my mom died, a lot of the childcare responsibilities fell on me. I already had been somewhat responsible for them, but after she died, I basically took her place as the main caregiver, as my dad worked long hours at work, and she was a SAHM. There was a lot of tension and a lot of fighting, and I moved across the country a few days after high school graduation, a year after my mom died. My dad started dating Wendy, fake name, less than 2 years after my mom died. This upset me a lot, as it felt too soon for me, considering my parents had been together my whole life, but after time I became more accepting of her and their relationship. Like I said before, I live halfway across the country, and I have only met her twice. My youngest brother does call her mom, but my other 2 siblings call her by her name. She also has 2 girls of her own, which are both under 12-ish. Anyway, on to what my actual post is about. Recently, within the past year or so, she has been continuously bringing up the idea of grandkids. She has said on numerous occasions that if me and my boyfriend had a kid right now, she'd be a grandma under 40. This made me extremely uncomfortable. Wendy isn't my mom, and in the past she has said she understands I'm older and she is not trying to replace my mom. So why would she call herself my non-existent children's grandmother? One time we were on the phone and she said something along the lines of, even if you and your boyfriend got engaged tomorrow, you wouldn't be married for at least another year. And then you wouldn't have a kid for probably around a year, and I'd be over 40 by then. This also really bothered me, because why is she trying to rush me into having kids when I am still young, and definitely not financially stable enough to have kids? This is not the only time she has brought up me having kids and her being their grandma. It is just the most recent time. I really don't understand her obsession with being a young grandmother, when her oldest biological kid is around 12, so if she never married my father, being a grandmother wouldn't even be an option. Realistically, if she had asked me if my future kids would call her grandma, I probably would have said yes, because it does make sense. What really bothered me is her assuming that role without seeing how I felt about it. It's hard for me to see this situation objectively, and from her perspective, as I obviously have a lot of feelings relating to my mother's passing and the fact that she will not be grandma. I also know that if my mother was still alive, she wouldn't be asking me when I plan on having kids at all. Her and my father were teenagers when they had me, so I knew she wanted me to wait until I was ready. It also seems like a small issue, and my dad is not the talkative type, so I'm not sure how to bring this up to him, or if I even should. Wibtosh. If I brought this up to either of them, or am I overreacting? Relevant comments. Commenter, there are two things going on here. 1. Your stepmom assuming she will a grandma. Even you admit it was ultimately the default. And 2. Your stepmom's obsession with having grandkids and being a young grandma. 2 is what is making 1 a problem, so address 2. Tell her you and your partner are the ones to decide when, if you get married and or have children, and her wants and schedule isn't part of those decisions. Whether it is intentional or not, all of her talk is making you feel pressured by her to fulfill something she wants that you are nowhere near ready for, and you will not entertain these discussions with her anymore. If you don't feel comfortable discussing with her, have the discussion with your dad and ask him to talk to her. NTA commenter, I think you need to just tell her since it's bugging you so much. The truth is, if unless you plan to move back to your hometown, she's not going to see the hypothetical child often enough to form a bond with them, unless you or they plan on traveling often. Maybe she realizes that if her children even decide to have kids, she'll be less mobile and able to be involved, so she's pinning her hopes on you. Story 3. Am I wrong to think about my boyfriend and his relationship with our younger colleague? My 40F boyfriend, 40M, have been together for 2 strong years. We work together. A couple of months ago, we started with this younger colleague. Let's call her Lisa. Lisa now works more closely with my boyfriend, Dot. The 3 of us initially hang out outside of work too. Later, my boyfriend and her started working on an assignment and used to spend a lot of time together with other teammates. My boyfriend, another male colleague, and Lisa used to drink together often after work. A couple of times after drinking in bars, they would continue drinking at Lisa S. house till wee hours in the morning. After one such incident, I told my boyfriend, I am a little uncomfortable with this. Please avoid it if you can. He said sure. And that very night, the 3 of them went drinking and again were at Lisa S. house till 6 a.m. I was extremely upset and confronted my boyfriend that this was not right. He agreed and apologized. I told my boyfriend, I know there is nothing but, due to some things that have happened in the past with us, I would like if you keep the distance. Now, one time he was to travel for a few hours with her, to which I said I wasn't happy. And he was kind enough to change his plan, but later at night I saw him messaging Lisa that he is sick of me and is pissed off. I was really upset as to why would he tell her of all the people. He should have spoken to me and also not told her about the issues we have. This became a big fight between us. I had to travel during this fight. My boyfriend apologized for this and agreed it was wrong. We made up and all was fine. He assured me he hadn't spoken to her at all. After a few days I found out that during our fight when I was traveling, he met up with Lisa and they were out drinking till 3 a.m., just the 2 of them, and he then went and spent the night at her place. When I confronted him, he denied. I showed him all the evidence. He then kept apologizing and kept saying nothing happened between them, and he knows he has wronged me. I felt so betrayed. He lied, and there was no need to meet her. Now he is saying she is so much younger, and he is just a mentor, and there is nothing between them. And if I didn't have an issue in the first place, he would not hide things, and not would it become an issue. But the fact that he stayed at her place during our fight about her is cheating according to me. Am I overacting? Relevant comments. Commenter. So he's lied about talking and hanging out with her multiple times. Staying at another woman's house would be a deal breaker for me. He continues to choose her over y'all's relationship, period. Why stay with someone like that? He's not going to stop. Commenter. Even if he wasn't cheating, why would you spend another minute with this guy who makes a habit of hanging out drinking till sunrise with these people? Give yourself some respect. You have one precious life. Is this guy what you want from it? Wake up. Story 4. Wibda if I don't invite my mum to my wedding. 27F from UK. I got engaged this year and am currently making some wedding plans and feeling torn about whether or not to invite my biological mother. I was raised by my grandparents, who I've always called my parents. They've been there for me my entire life, and all my aunts and uncles have treated me like a sibling. I've always been treated like part of this family. My biological parents had me when my mum was 19 and my dad was 15. I know how that looks, so don't even ask. I'm not entirely sure of the full details of how I ended up in care at just 3 months old, but I do know that my biological mother called my grandparents, who are now my parents, to tell them I had been taken away. They drove the 7 hours to come and get me, but when she held me for the first time, I screamed. Her response was, "Fine, I don't want her if she's going to cry like that," which left my grandparents furious. They took me home with them, and I've lived with them ever since. Throughout my childhood, there were times I would visit her, and even stay with her occasionally, but she was often cruel and emotionally abusive. She would cut off communication for years, only to reconnect again. This behavior wasn't exclusive to me. She has a similar pattern with everyone. Some people think she may have bipolar disorder or another issue. She has 3 other children, one born just a year after me, and 2 more, with only a short gap between them. Our relationship has always been inconsistent, dictated by her actions. The last time we spoke, we had been on good terms for about a year, but out of nowhere, she blocked me on social media, cut off contact, and even left my daughter's toys on my doorstep. I had been hesitant to let her build a relationship with my daughter because of my own issues stemming from her emotional abuse, but she promised she wouldn't do that again. Of course, she did. It's now been almost 3 years, and my 6-year-old daughter still asks why she can't see her or have a sleepover. This is especially difficult because my sister lives right across the street from her, so my daughter remembers where her house is. As you can imagine, this has caused me some childhood trauma that I think still affects me as an adult that I haven't dealt with. I didn't meet my biological father until I was 16, when he reached out to me on Facebook. He had no idea I wasn't living with my biological mother. Despite the distance, he lives 7 hours away, he's made the effort to stay in touch, and we meet up when we can. I also have 2 brothers from his side. Now, as I plan my wedding, I feel conflicted. I'm considering inviting my biological father, but not my biological mother. Part of me thinks this is the right decision given our difficult history, but I can't help but wonder if I'll regret it later on. Has anyone else been in a similar situation? Will I feel guilty for not inviting her? Or am I justified in making this decision? Relevant comments. Commenter, it's your wedding. Only invite people you actually want there. Having read your post, it doesn't sound like you want her there. Commenter. NTA me. Me in your shoes, invite Biodad and leave Biomom out. If Biomom throws a fit about it, ask her a very basic question she should know but doesn't like. What's my favorite color? Or, do I drink tea or coffee? If she has been in your life as little as you say, I would put money down she doesn't know either. It sounds like Biodad is making an effort consistently. Ultimately, you don't want her there, so don't invite her. Thank you for sticking around until the end. If you liked our videos, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our latest content. Have a wonderful day.